Oh, we are back.
with another Animorphs review podcast deal.
Howdy, y'all.
Yep.
And we'll be
Okay.
doing the
Megamorphs 2.
Megamorphs book.
Megamorphs 2 in the Time of the Dinosaurs, and number 19, The Departure, a Cassie-centric book.
Both pretty good stories, especially the second one here we're going to discuss.
Yeah. So, first up, we do Megamorphs 2 in the Time of Dinosaurs. The Animorphs go back in time, and they're responsible for the KT extinction event.
Standard animal stuff.
Yep, they changed the course of history. So, yeah, so you could tell it's like, oh yeah, Jurassic Park 2 had come out, so we gotta do something with dinosaurs. That's probably what Kay Applegate and all the rest of the people involved were thinking.
It was, and thank God it was in a Megamorphs book, so you know it didn't necessarily have to be canon.
Yeah, but number 19, The Departure, actually references the events in Megamorphs 2.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and you think they mention it more, like,
Yeah.
later on.
I do agree with the Poppy's criticisms. Number 17, The Underground, where they exploded the oatmeal, the lethal to the Earth's oatmeal barrel exploding in the Earth pool, is never mentioned again when it should be.
You think that would have some more after effects?
As big as destroying the Kandrona. But detonating a nuclear bomb underwater should have even more effects. Radiation poisoning and fallout and pollution, even if it doesn't destroy the world, at the very least the beaches should close. You know what I mean?
I think that's where the whole
almost like
comes in.
It's almost like a big-lipped alligator moment.
It's such a fever dream, this book. It might as well not be canon.
And yet I actually like it. It's my favorite Megamorphs because I think it's actually well written. The prose is good, and the novelty of them being with the dinosaurs is well enough, if not executed as well as it could be. You really should have them morphing more dinosaurs. You know what I mean? And there's the fact that at the end of the book, for those not initiated with it, they rescue a nuclear submarine, and then they get thrown back in time when the nuclear submarine explodes, and then they cause the extinction event, and that sends them back to their time, and they can't morph dinosaurs at the end. 4 of them have T-Rex morphs.
It would have been so cool if they were able to use that like in isolated incidents when no one's looking.
There's one big problem with the books, the inconsistency of it. They just seem to forget that they got these morphs. Then again, you could say if it's anything like the Sario rips.
Yeah, they actually didn't forget. Cassie came over to see Jake, and they said, "Oh, I tried to morph T-Rex. I couldn't do it." And it's a cop out because they say you could ask Axe, and you say I'd be even more confused if I did that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my problem with this book is it's a bit too gimmicky for Animorphs, that it just didn't quite fit.
Yeah.
And but there are some good parts in it. There are some really good parts in it.
Yeah, like the Nesk, the space ants, and
oh yeah, I was about to bring that up because I love the idea of like, oh, you're millions of years in the past. If there's alien civilizations, they probably would have visited at some point or tried to settle. Maybe, I don't know.
I'll say this: that comet that they actually engineered to hit the Earth is I think it was handled very well. It feels very ominous, you know what I mean? But then I've always found the death of the dinosaurs to be utterly fascinating, that comet. Because it's a fate that could easily befall us if not taken care of.
Yeah, at least, the non-avian dinosaurs anyway.
Yeah.
I do find it quite interesting to read a book with dinosaurs when the knowledge on dinosaurs is always changing.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah, because a friend
it's
of
definitely a
mine.
very 90s style dinosaur book, and it's like looking back in
Exactly.
time a little bit, ironically.
Like,
Tobias,
I remember because there's a friend of mine. I'll probably get him to watch this review when it comes out, since we're discussing dinosaurs. Like, uh, but he's been showing me lots of like paleontology stuff, like the Deinonychus. They were actually feathered, and they
yeah,
also were not pack hunters, like the book depicts them as.
yeah. So it already got some things wrong, but the book kind of almost calls us out in an impish kind of way, where Tobias says at the end, "I read up on some fossils after we got back, and I almost got eaten by supposedly extinct chronosaurs. So who are you going to believe, me or a bunch of scientists with some old fossils?"
Yeah, I'm looking at that bit now. It's it. That's what I mean. That's what I like about it. It's because it's a constantly changing thing. It's nice
Yeah,
that I don't know if it was the authors or the publishers just added that bit on the end just to say,
could
the
be.
factual stuff in here might be a bit off.
I will
I
say
like that.
I do disagree with the pop arena that I don't necessarily think it's a nuclear bomb that sends normal people back in time. It's the presence of a nuclear explosion, all that, in the presence of people who have morphing technology, So not a bunch of people from 1945 are not going to be running around the Cretaceous because they didn't have the morphing power. You know what I mean?
How do we know? There might have been.
That would be interesting and funny, but yeah.
Reminds me of that Family Guy parody
Which one?
where he's at Hiroshima and he gets a parking ticket and it's his worst day ever. And then there's a dropping bomb. He's like, "Oh my god!" It turns out it's not a bomb; it's a monkey that got dropped on him. Hiroshima.
Family
Yeah,
Guy
but
was good.
I don't mind Tobias making the decision to not tell his friends the whole story and to engineer the bomb so that the Makora failed to divert the asteroid. Because for those who don't know, in the book, the Animorphs team up with the Makora, who are peaceful hippie space crabs who eat broccoli, in order to grab a missile from the nest, the space hands, who have a tense standoff because they're trying to get back to their own time and think an explosion could do it. But in retaliation, the nest divert the comet to hit the planet. See, I don't mind that. What Tobias does is he wants to preserve the timeline, and the fact that it didn't change when they got back there proves that it was the right thing to do. I think. I mean, I get Tobias not being haunted more by this in future books. I do agree that's a big problem. You know what I mean? That he should reflect more on it, but I think he did the right thing, preserving the timeline.
As far as the animals are concerned, yeah, it was the right decision.
Yeah,
Moralistically, it's a bit different, but you could say that this was history. This is how he's always known it, so it must be that way. Therefore, we're not actually changing history. We're making sure history happens as
yeah,
we suspected it happens. So
yeah.
it's one of those. Really, it's a weird one.
Paparina brought up all the instances of time travel to say you can change the future and the past, and I'm like, well, what on earth does that prove? Even something like Star Trek, which Animorphs borrows heavily from, has done the you can change the past approach and the predestination paradox. Time is set. You're always going to take this action, and that creates its own future kind of approach,
Yeah.
where it's a stable time loop. So this could just be an example of the latter. Though it does make you wonder what happens in future books I'm not going to get into. Because if the Animorphs cause the KT extinction event, what about, well, I'll just say this, Megamorphs 4. You know what I'm talking about.
Good old Megamorphs 4. That was a
Well, I'm
weird
very
book.
curious what's in that book now. Can't wait to
I
see
will. I will.
whatever you
Just
guys are referencing.
just a spoiler for you, Iron. Meg,
Yeah.
Megamorphs 3 is the best one.
So that's the one you like. It is pretty good.
Megamorphs 3 is the best Megamorphs book by far. It's such a good book.
It's probably my second favorite, but I do like it. It's second to this one, but I do still like the third one. It's probably the better one.
It's got one of
Yeah,
it's got one of the
another thing
single
they
best
did.
moments of the whole series in it. It's brilliant.
I wonder what you're gonna
Oh
say
wow.
that is.
I'm not going to say it now, obviously, spoilers, because it's a pretty massive spoiler.
Oh, naturally.
Because
Probably
if I
something
spoil it at
significant
all,
that happens.
it comes out. If I spoil it, it ruins the whole effect of it.
Yeah,
Bit that I'm
so
talking
we're not gonna
about.
do that.
It's such a sudden, unexpected moment that you're just like, "Whoa! I can't
I,
believe they just did that."
I, I do agree with the Paprina with the beginning, with the submarine rescue, that it doesn't make much sense for Marco to initiate it, that he should go on kicking and screaming. It would have been better if Cassie had seen it. But then it's weird. They walk to the beach when it's raining in a storm that sinks submarines, and yet not all these people live too close together. In fact, Cassie's is quite a far distance away. She's like 3 miles into the woodlands. So how did that happen? They didn't fly to the beach. They walked there because they have to take out
Seriously.
outfits.
Another inconsistency I was gonna bring up was do you remember what happened to Tobias? Like he wasn't able to like morph.
Yeah, this is the one thing I wanted to bring up.
Oh yeah.
Is he got injured? His wing got busted, I think, didn't it?
They're like, oh yeah, we're gonna break the rules and not like give him
Morphin
that
heals all
ability just so he can't heal. It's like it would have been really useful to be in the air to do stuff. And there's still things they could have done to make it difficult for him to go around. There's like, oop, I can't go up into the air because there's these dangerous flying creatures up there or whatever,
Yeah, like pterodactyls.
They
It's a
could have
cop
done
out.
something like that to make it be like, oh, I got to stay on the ground.
It's just a bit of a cop out, really.
Yeah. Of course, like the Paprina said, this seems to happen a lot to Tobias. And he showed an image of number 15, the escape, when Tobias acquired the dolphin and did go into the trance. Yeah. I do like the idea that the Elvis gave him faulty morphing powers. And if this had happened more, I could have understood it. But this is the only time it's going to happen. I don't mind saying that because it really is a cop out.
But this is why I'm sort of okay with it being in Megamorphs, because the whole point of the first two Megamorphs books, at least I think, is that the authors just wanted to have a bit of fun. They just wanted to put the Animorphs in a situation that they otherwise couldn't. So the fact that they took a few liberties here and there, broke a few rules, I'm not too unhappy about it.
Yeah, the first one.
These books are deliberately meant to be fun, a diversion from the main story. So yeah, bend a few rules here and there, it's fine.
Yeah, I mean the first one was about the Velek, which was Visitor 3's monster that he found around. Was it Saturn? The rings of Saturn, and he brought to Earth to serve him.
Yeah.
Like bandits.
Yeah, that was weird as well. This book's better than the first Megamorphs, I will say.
Yeah, the first one though is the most mentioned one. It's sad that Megamorphs 2 doesn't get mentioned more, especially that they had to destroy a whole species to get home and to preserve the timeline is a pretty harsh thing. But it is something that should haunt you for the rest of your days. I get you wouldn't be agonizing over it in every single book, but more than a brief mention in number 19, The Departure, it deserves more than that. You know what I mean? And it's the moment where Cassie freaks out over morphing Tyrannosaurus and eats a Triceratops.
Can I also point out before I forget, this is the second time in 2 books that they've basically blown up a whole continent.
Yeah, number 18, The Decision.
Yeah, they used nuclear bombs to blow up a continent.
Yeah.
And here they diverted an asteroid to blow up, well, wherever the hell they were. A lot of explosions going on at this stage of the series. Thankfully, it calms down in the next book a bit.
They've also ditched a lot of the early dread that the book series had because they're well experienced and well seasoned now. So they're a bit more confident in what they're doing. So a lot of the early dread that how are we going to beat these guys is kind of not present. It's there, but at a low simmer instead of a constant boil. Because they have new allies too. They have the Key, they have the Free Hork-Bajir, they have well,
that's basically it at this point, isn't it?
Yeah.
at this. Is it? Sort of.
We
Trying to
know the
think.
Viscers will engage in political warfare. They're like the Goa'uld system lords, where they're so busy battling each other that they don't battle against their common enemies.
And thus they become weakened.
They
Yeah.
know
So
they've got the Ellimist sort of on side as well at this point.
yeah. So any final thoughts on Megamorphs 2?
Tied with Megamorphs 4 for second best Megamorphs book.
No, I definitely liked it. More than the first one.
I will say the book is relatively exciting to read, but I listened to the audiobook recently and it dragged a bit.
Yeah, it does
It's
drag a little bit.
it's not the sort of book that you can read repeatedly as much as some other books. Like there are some books that you can read every so often and be relatively entertained. But this one, for whatever reason, it's just like you've read it once. Or in my case, I've read it once. It's like I don't need to read it again.
Yeah. Here's the detail I do like. It's mentioned in the book after this too, is that predators aren't scared of fire. It's Kay Applegate's favorite factoid. They're not scared of fire. In fact, predators use it to herd prey better. They'll go into villages and pass the fire and drag out young children off into the night.
Which bit's that?
Okay, so
I know what you're getting at. I know what you're getting at now. Yeah.
Like I said, I do wish things would have been mentioned more from the book. Later.
Well, get used to that.
Yep.
No spoilers.
So with that, I think we can go to number 19, The Departure. Before we say anything, as a kid, I do want to say this cover made me fall in love with Cassie because I had a big crush on whoever the model is that played Cassie when I was a kid, of course. And, it's just, back then, it's just something I want to get out of the way. Anyway, the plot for this book, after a particularly brutal battle, Cassie decides to leave the Animorphs, but she's been followed home by a Yerk, Aftran, and they get lost in the woods and they have a lot of discussions together, and then they actually make a fragile peace. So Karen will give up her host and let her go free if Cassie will morph into a butterfly, morph into a caterpillar and suffer the same fate. A lot of other stuff happens, and basically it's about the interactions between Aftran and Cassie that make up this book. So, thoughts?
This one should have been a TV series episode.
Yeah, it's very minimalistic, which lends itself well to the show's budget, doesn't it?
That's my thinking exactly. All they needed was a bit of woodland, and Cassie and another actress. That's all they needed, and yet they didn't do it for whatever reason. Maybe because they hadn't developed Cassie's character enough in the TV series. I'm not sure if Ian, have you seen the TV series at all?
No.
I've seen like very, very, very small, like, I don't know. There's one channel over the air that was like re-showing it. I don't remember what channel, and it was the very end of it, so I don't really remember that much.
Yeah, you're not missing much. It's worth it to see just to see what they did. But yeah, this is the sort of episode that they didn't do in the TV series that they probably should have done.
Yeah,
it adds a lot of character, this episode.
Yeah, what's interesting to me is how Cassie just absolutely does not want to kill this little girl who discovers her secret that the Andalite bandits are not Andalite bandits at all, but humans. And I do like how consistent it is to the idea that after it confirms a lot of Yorks suspect that they're human, but they just don't want to contradict Visser 3 because he's so mercurial.
Oh, sorry, I've got a cat whipping my face at the moment.
Oh.
Hold on.
But yeah, I like this book because Cassie just does not want to kill Karen, the little girl, but she also doesn't want to kill Aftran, the Yeerk. So when Marco, so after, because Cassie has been missing, when Marco comes to look for her, he finds Aftran, and he's not as merciful as Cassie is, and he's gonna like kill her. But then Cassie turns herself into a controller to give Aftran a place to be.
I think one of the reasons why I like it so much is there is some things that really, really felt very Stargate-ish with like not all of the Go-World species are like just want to oppress everybody and be worshipped like gods.
Yeah, Karen wanted a peaceful assignment, and Aftran wanted a peaceful assignment that wouldn't be the nonstop wars. So she volunteered for
It's very Tok'ra-esque, I should say.
And she said there's people like Cassie and the Yeerks who oppose the wars of taking unwilling hosts. Well, when it's a choice between the Andalites who all think you're scum and the mercy of the Viscers who run the war machine, what are you going to do? Most Yeerks just go with the flow.
We've got to ask, Ian, what do you think of Cassie's actions in this book? Do you think they were wise decisions?
I do think
moralistically good decisions. Were they too risky?
I think they were reckless, but I think they came from a place of good. But then you know what they say: the road to hell is paved with good intention.
Yeah, that's true.
It just worked out here because she just had a feeling that Aftran was not like other Yeerks, and she wasn't. When Cassie let Aftran into her head to protect her from Marco, it really feels more like a Tok'ra blending from Stargate instead of when Jake was made a controller, because Aftran feels solemnly curious, and you could say that Cassie's growing wise to the Earth in a way, because she was made a controller and she made peace with a controller in a way that not even Jake did with his Yeerk, who was a standard cackling villain. Ooh.
Bit of a mustache twirler. Yeah, this is the first book where we really, saying that, in book 8, we had a bit of character development for Yeerks with, what was his name? The one who found Axe in the observatory.
Gary Kozar, but his Yeerk name was Estlin.
Yes, that's the one. So we got a bit of sort of look into the Yeerks' more personable side in that book. But this is where we get a great big chunk of it thrown at us.
Yeah, Yeerks who oppose the wars, Yeerks who feel the wars to take unwilling hosts are wrong. You know what I mean? And Karen describes the world we live in as a world of indescribable beauty. And we're seeing our first hints that the Yeerks in the pool, they're basically blind, deaf, and helpless. They're sensory deprived. It's only by taking a host that they can live up to their full potential. We're going to see more of that in the Hork-Bajir Chronicles, but they're really starting to flesh out the Yeerks in a way that I really appreciate. Most people who read the series do.
Basically, the Yeerks are just jealous. Just jealous of all these other races. So they think, well, they all get what we have, so we want it now as well.
Plus, there's a certain logic to imperialism, and that's what the Viscers in the Council of 13 are about. Expanding, conquering others, and there is a certain precedent for that in nature. Unfortunately, conquest is natural law. Unfortunately, but what can you do?
I think what we'll find is the next book that sort of develops on this theme is 26. I'm sure you remember what happens.
And then
it'll be a while before we get to that.
Number 26, the attack, and number 29, the sickness.
Yeah, those are the next two that sort of follow this storyline to some degree. 26 a bit more indirectly, but it's on the same sort of trajectory.
Yeah,
and that's a good book, by the way. That's the. Oh, but you've got a lot of good books coming up, by the way, Ian. We're into a string of books now that we're past the rubbish that is 17, and we're now into a string of really good books.
Yeah,
well, I look forward to that.
It's worth
probably
noting.
Go through them quick if they're that good.
It's worth noting that after Anne kept her word, she gave up Karen. Karen met with Cassie at the end after the naturally occurring morphing of turning into a butterfly, then she could turn back to human. Yeah, X said that in his
That's
talking like humans way.
that's that's the one thing about this book that I didn't really like. Again, it's a bit of a cop out. Oh, it's natural morphing.
Yeah, I was
What?
wondering like how is she gonna get out? But they're like, oh, just because it's that it's like it's still the same DNA.
That's exactly
Like
what I was thinking.
so you're kind of right that it was a little bit of a cop out. Like I can probably come up with something much better.
Yeah.
I mean, Christ, they could have just got the. I'd have been more satisfied if the Elmis had just come in and say, actually, let's just reverse that.
That kid, when
Let's just.
Afran, you get the feeling when Afran talks a lot of the time that she's rationalizing to herself what the Yerk propaganda is, because when we see her get into Cassie's head, we see a bit more of her hesitance to kill and that she just wanted a quick assignment that's easy and doesn't require a lot of the wars that she wanted out of it.
I think. Carry on.
And not you going.
I really quite liked Aftran's character in this, but it's good to add that sort of depth to the villains because up to this point, yeah, it's been sort of Yerk bad, and they are, but there is some element of nuance to it that up to this point we hadn't really seen.
Yeah, and it's worth noting that when the rest of the Animorphs arrive, and after Marco grabs them, and that even Marco decides to come around and not kill Aftran when he could have let the leopard do it. When Cassie has reached the two most stubborn Animorphs, two most stubborn foes, Aftran and Marco, then it's worth noting that you're doing something right at least.
It paves the way for her future actions as well.
Oh,
which should be very interesting to get to.
Yeah, eventually.
That's especially towards the end of the series is where it really hits the fan.
So Cassie's dinosaur dream. Do we talk about that? It's from Megamorphs 2.
Do we have to?
Not really.
No, it's probably just a bit of advertising, really. Hey, do you remember we did a book about dinosaurs?
Hey, at least they did a little something. At least they gave a little nod. They tried.
Yeah. By the way, fun fact: there were 6 editions of the In the Time of Dinosaurs book.
Yeah, there were.
And they just changed
wow,
they
really?
just changed the color of the cover slightly.
Yeah, I talked about how this.
6 different times.
I talked about how the cover for number 19, The Departure, gave me a crush on Cassie when I was a child. Yeah, but I didn't talk about what color edition I have for my Megamorphs. I think I have yellow. There's yellow, there's red, there's blue, there's green. 6 different colors.
I will be fair to it. There's different insets for each color.
Yeah, and the inside is a picture of one of the Animorphs.
But apart from that, there's no difference. It's just a bit of a cash grab.
Yeah.
Honestly. But thankfully, it's one of the only times that the Animorphs did that.
One detail worth noting in number 19, The Departure, is after taking over Cassie, Afghan doesn't really instantly go to like a telephone to car file control. She just keeps soaring as a bird. She turns into a bird and feels free. It's just kind of like hesitating, That's a good sign that the villain is not as villainous as the others. Like I said before, Jake's Yerk was totally different. It was a complete domination. It was more like a Goa'uld taking of a host, whereas with Cassie and Afghan, it felt more like a Tok'ra blending.
Probably because the Yerk saw Cassie's psyche. I think there must have been something there that Aftron thought, hold on a minute, this person isn't actually out to harm me. Whereas Jake,
yeah,
probably a bit more about him that the Yerk probably thought this guy would kill me if he at the first chance he got.
There's also, it's like they shared a bit more of their thoughts than Jake and his Yerk did. I mean, we see to an extent that when when Yerk and host first connect together, that there's a bit of the sharing of their thoughts, but you can still close off the more private section. You just can't block everything out.
So, Ian, is
Oh, yeah?
this one of the best books of the series so far?
So far, I just it's really good.
Because it's character focused, and it's probably the best Cassie book, not gonna lie.
Ooh, best Cassie book. Yeah, it probably is. Just looking at my shelf now. Yeah, I'd say it's the best Cassie book.
It just makes the Yerk so much deeper than them just being, oh, we're just the bad guys, you know?
We're even going to see, I'm not going to say how, but I've said this for a while now, Sean knows, that we're even going to get Visser 3's origin stories, and he's a lot more humbler than we thought. Now, I'm not
That
going to
will
say,
be really interesting to see.
yeah,
Well, to a degree, yeah. He's a bit more cunning.
we saw part of it in the Andalite Chronicles and how he got Aloran, but that's after he's been years in the Yerk Empire, and he's sub-Visser 7 at that point. It's surprising Visser 3 starting, but I won't say any more about that. This book also reveals a key detail of Yerk reproduction. The three Yerks fuse together and explode into thousands of tiny grubs. The parent Yerks die, of course. That's just perfectly alien to me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a lot of animals that do. Well, yeah, it does seem very alien to us as humans, basically.
Yeah,
Not very fun. I wouldn't call it a great time.
yeah. Parent Yerks don't form a bond with their children, which probably explains part of why Yerks are the way they are. Yerks are also like sponges; they absorb information. Information is the name of the game they're in. But we'll see even more of that when we get to the Hork-Butcher Chronicles and, of course, number 29, The Sickness. You'll see.
I'm listening to the Sickness audiobook now. I'm
Oh, really?
about 2/3 of the way through it. It's fine. It's got a major flaw though, something that I cannot get past when I'm reading it.
Well, we'll have to touch on that when we get back to it. I'll say my favorite casting book is number 29, The Sickness, while number 19, The Departure, is probably the second favorite casting book. I like number 29, The Sickness, a little more for various reasons.
And we'll get to that when we get to it. Yeah, it's all right, but yeah, there's major issues that I have with it.
So, for our final leg of time, I'm gonna bring up what do you think of this far into the series, like Iron? This far into the series, starting.
Well, much like when you showed me, Stargate, just start getting better and better, and we're moving past the whole like, oh, we doing all these little missions and trying to experiment with what we can do against the Yerks, and they're just feeling a lot more confident against them.
Yeah, and
even though the odds are still overwhelming.
And the biggest mission ever is coming up in the David trilogy. I won't say what it is, but it may be the most important mission the Animorphs ever undertake, ever. I won't say what, but
I'd say we're about to enter the first of two major Animorphs peaks in quality.
Yeah.
So books we've just started. So book 19 through to 26, with the exception of 24, maybe.
Yeah, 24.
That's pretty much peak Animorphs, and then the final from 47 onwards, excluding book 51, is the second peak. But yeah, we're entering now the first peak of quality.
I call number 45 too. Number.
Oh no! Oh, I can't stand 45. No.
I call it the end game because what they start doing there leads up to the end. not a peak, the end game.
Yeah, 47 is the start of peak Animorphs for me. But that's a long way off.
Yeah, it is.
There's a lot to happen between now and then.
So, yeah, we finished our 2 Megamorphs books. We're almost to the second Chronicles book, and
Yeah, you said the Hork-Bajir Chronicles, right?
yeah,
That's included in this first peak as well because it's the best Chronicles book by far.
I think my favorite is the Elements Chronicles, but second would be the Android Chronicles, and then I have nothing against the Horse-Bajir Chronicles. They're very well written. That would probably be my third Chronicles.
Oh, did you on my channel recently I did a fan vote where all the fans voted in polls and it came out with a list of best to worst Animorphs books.
Oh, I don't remember if you've ever linked it, but in the Discord DM, you should probably link your channel to me.
Yeah, hold on. I'll spoil it for you. I will tell you what according to the fans of the series, according to the Animorphs fans, what the best book of the series is, if you want me to. And yeah, the favorite book for the fans is number 22.
22, The Solution.
22. Second best book is the Hork-Bajir Chronicles, and those books are basically right next to each other.
Yeah, so
You know, I want to say something about the Hork-Bajir real quick.
go ahead.
I'm kind of so my friend here knows a lot, like my Ahsoka rewrite. I've talked to him a lot, so I'm kind of gonna base the Grisk aliens sort of off the Hork-Bajir, like elements of them,
The
like elements
blade,
of their designs.
the blades, the goblin-like appearance. Yeah, but
Because like the way they designed the Grisk in like the actual Grisk as depicted in some of the comics, I'm just like, yeah, that's kind of a bland design. Make them like space lizards.
yeah, I will say that I will ask this far into the series, what's your favorite book? I can ask Adam because he's read the whole series, but what about you, Iron?
Oh, I'll have to look and think back on that one.
Because mine is number 26, The Attack. Hands down, my favorite book, my favorite one of any of them.
Yeah, that's number 4 on the list.
For you.
On the fans list, best to worst.
And what's your favorite book?
Mine? You asking me?
Yeah.
47.
47. No, okay.
Not a popular opinion, you know. No, I'm not.
Because it's one of the ghost written books, yeah.
Yeah, it's not many people's favorites, but god damn, I love that book. It's incredible. Second favorite is number 41. So yeah, I break all the trends. Not many people would agree with me.
Okay, so let's see if we can get any concluding thoughts on these books and the overall rest of the series before we sign off.
No, like I said, I look forward to see what comes in the future in this supposed David trilogy. Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one comes next. You'll enjoy that one, I think.
So it's basically kind of like an unofficial trilogy, like how the Callista trilogy is like an unofficial trilogy.
No, it's actually a trilogy because it's spread across 3 books and they have a to be continued kind of thing going.
Oh, okay.
They want it to be 3 books that you read specifically for information. And
as far
then,
as these 2 books goes, the Megamorphs one was a gimmick, which is fair. But The Departure is one of the best books of the series, and it brings us on track for the the best that is yet to come.
Yep. Animorphs is now entering its second half, which in a lot of ways their actions here could be seen as setup to what happens later. And the Animorphs get even better at fighting the Yeerks to the point that Visser 3, we begin to see how paranoid he truly is when it comes to his operations on Earth, because they mess with him for so often.
You know, I'm gonna also take inspiration in some ways from Animorphs when writing some of my stories.
Yep.
Or at least one of the series I do have planned.
I'm going to link you my channel, Iron.
Oh sweet. I gotta see it.
There it is. Yeah, I think that's. I think we've covered those 2 books, haven't we?
Yep. I think.
Yeah. I think that's everything. Can't think of anything else at the top of my head I want to say.
Well, there'll be plenty to discuss during the David trilogy, I'm sure.
Oh yes.
And
I've
the
done plenty
Hork-Bajir,
of research.
we're going to cover, as I said, the David trilogy and then the Hork-Bajir Chronicles to make it an even 4. That's how we do it.
Marching Hork-Bajir.
That's going to be a
I had to
long
get
video.
that out.
Yeah, I have told Iron that I have told him this much about the Hork-Bajir Chronicles, that there's 3 narrators, a Yeerk, an Andoid, and a Hork-Bajir, to give all perspectives on the original conquest of the Hork-Bajir planet. Because we know that it's coming. The only question is how. The Hork-Bajir are going to become an entire species of host to the Yeerks.
Oh, it's all good times and laughter.
Yep.
All right, we've hit 40 minutes. That's good. That's good. All right. Did anyone else have any final words?
No, we covered it, I think.
All right. So we'll see you whenever another one comes out.
Thank you, everybody. Looking forward to the trilogy.
Thank you, and good night.